hand over to Dr. Dean. So, Dean, sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jara, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Uh, we'll quickly start our presentation, but before we start presentation, I would like to request all of you if you could kindly uh, write your name and your affiliation in the chat box so that we can know everyone. So we don't need to spend time on introduction. But before we go to the presentation, I would like to invite our Executive Director of Rapid, Dr. Mohammad Abu Yusuf sir. Sir, if you can comment quickly on today's presentation and Rapid's webinar series. Sir.
No, thank you, Dr. Dean, Jara, Shahidul. This is our regular monthly webinar series. So at the outset, I would like to give a big thank to the presenter, particularly Mr. Junaid from World Bank, and also our very beloved Tawfiqul Islam Khan, Senior Research Fellow, CPD. For that time, we know that this is Ramadan, and also we are at the end of the uh, last week of before Eid vacation. So this time is very valuable, and the topic itself I think is very important because we are talking about on the poverty elevation issues for long, and there is a sometimes mismatch between macro and micro. Whenever we see the macro picture, but there are sometimes mismatch with the micro level. So through this, small area estimation for district and Upazila-level poverty mapping, I think it will give some, value addition in terms of analysis, in terms of literature in the poverty. I think that maybe it was based on the Household Income and Expenditure Survey 2022. Of course, there will be some comparative analysis between 2016 and 2022. Though in the 2016, there was the district level poverty statistics, but later BBS, they stopped publishing district level statistics because there are some confusion, there is some criticism on these issues. But I think today's presentation is really valuable on our researcher, particularly from the Rapid colleagues, and also who joined online through Facebook. They will be benefited from different universities, different research organizations, and our partner organizations also. So big thank to Junaid. But I think we'll have, um, you know, long-term collaboration also in future, not only just merely this presentation, between maybe in any opportunity between World Bank and Rapid. So thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing from an exciting presentation from Mr. Junaid. Thanks, Jean, for organizing this monthly webinar series as we do on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's, without further ado, let me invite Jonaid from World Bank. Please share your research on small area estimation in next 20 minutes. Jonaid.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope I'm audible and my screen is visible. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you for actually providing me the opportunity to present in Rapid Monthly Webinar. So as you all know, we will discuss today about like the small area estimation. So, sorry. Okay. So on some background, so usually as Yusuf sir also mentioned, for getting poverty estimates, we do household survey. So in case of Bangladesh, we have like HIAS. And from the household survey, we basically found poverty number at national level and some regional level like divisions and rural urban. But this household survey actually didn't provide poverty numbers or any picture of the spatial disparity, especially at the smaller geographic level because of the lack of sample size. So if we want to have like the Upazila-Level poverty estimate, we cannot have it from highest because highest is not representative at like Upazila level. However, uh, granular poverty estimates are essential for effective policy making, especially for designing like targeted social protection programs. So in this case, so a smaller estimation is a technique that help address these gaps. So it's provide poverty estimate for a smaller area and demographic groups. And using this a smaller estimation technique, so basically BBS with the support from technical support from World Bank, technical and financial support from World Bank, and also financial support from World Food Program, produce poverty maps of Bangladesh 2022. So the objectives are to like deliver precise poverty estimates and enhance understanding of spatial inequality, support targeted poverty reduction, and guide government like budget allocation. And there is also huge demand for this detailed poverty estimation, especially from the development partners, researchers, think tanks, and obviously from the policymakers. So we used basically a highest 2022 dataset and a population and housing census 2022 dataset, and using the methodology, we come up with these poverty maps. And at the end, we come up with like poverty numbers for 64 jilas and 590 upazila and thanas of Bangladesh. So now let me just explain how this methodology works. So you all know that for estimating poverty, we basically at the end we need two things. One is like per capita consumption expenditure. So I'm talking about like head count ratio. So per capita consumption expenditure and the poverty line. So we have two things. One is household survey. In case of Bangladesh, it's like highest, and census. So the strength of highest is we have like a detailed module on the consumption, and from where we can like calculate the per capita consumption expenditure, which is like key element for poverty estimation. But the weakness of highest is we have limited sample size. Especially at the Upazila level, we don't have representative sample size. So as Yusuf sir also mentioned the earlier, so for instance, in 2010, BBS produced poverty number at division level and rural urban level. And that time the sample size was like in between 10,000 and 11,000. But in 2016, BBS like took a decision. So they want to like direct poverty estimate from up to district level from the survey. And they increased the sample size like more than fourfold. So the sample size was like 46,000. And at that time, actually, it was like a question of whether BBS has capacity of running these types of large scale survey with a detailed, very large questionnaire. And we all know that there were some issues with the quality angle of this survey. And lesson learned from this 2016, in 2022, BBS again came back to like district level, sorry, division level poverty estimates and reduced the sample size significantly and moved back to like 14,400 sample size. So on the other hand, in the census, we have like the full coverage of population. So technically, all the households of the country should be included in the census. But the weakness of census is in the census, we do not have any information of the consumption. And realistically, it is not possible to have like the consumption module in the census and collect the data consumption data from all countries in the country. So what we do an imputation model. So it's a kind of regression of consumption on some predictors. And we trained a model. And based on the model in the household survey, like highest, we predict or we impute consumption value in the census. So main philosophy is, so if we say like two household is like characteristics or observationally similar, so we can assume that their consumption pattern will be kind of similar. So we can do this because both in the census and in the survey, we have some background information of the household, like household demographic characteristics, household employment characteristics, household educational characteristics, household dwelling characteristics. So based on all of these characteristics or variable, we can like regress consumption from the household survey, and then using this coefficient and with some technology techniques, we can like impute and match the household with the survey household and actually impute the consumption in the census. So once we have like the consumption information in the census and we have like the poverty line, and then from the census, now we can actually estimate the poverty number at whatever level we want. We can have poverty estimate at district level, at Upazila level, or even at union, or it is possible also to have like to some extent village level poverty estimate. So three consideration here is important. One is the predictors, that is like the observable characteristics of the household in the survey have to be the same as in the census. So in terms of definition and also in terms of distribution. So it is important. So for instance, the household characteristics is actually gradually changing. So the characteristics we have in like 2016 is not like similar to what we have right now. So in that case, it is important to have like census and survey is a very like close year, or it's like good if we have like the same year, both census and survey. So in that case, this time it's like a good thing that both the highest and census was in 2022, and we can say that okay, the distribution of the variable, there is a probability that we will find enough variable to run a model that are distributionally and definitionally same. So this is the important thing. So the second important consideration is the predictor that we will use, the variable x, have to be a good predictor of consumption. So if we like consider some variable that has no like connection or no linkage with consumption, so we cannot use that variables. And the third, it's like an assumption. It says like the model estimate for a region has to apply for the smaller region areas within the region. So that means, so basically what we do like we train the model like at the division level or even strata level. So for instance, if we say if a model is like working for like Borishal rural, so you will say that any smaller area under this Borishal rural like district of Borishals and Upazilas of Borishal, so the same model will work or apply. So what I say in case of 2022, we have like the same years, but in case of 2016, if we go back, so the census was in 2011 and the highest was in 2016, and it was like really tough work to actually find a large number of like variables that can be used for the modeling because of the mismatch in the distribution. So what approach we follow? So initially we identified and like harmonized 119 potential indicators that are common to both census and household. And we say that we cannot use all of these common variable because they need to be distribution need to be similar. So what we identified the distribution, so we said if a variable's distribution in census is like within the confidence interval, 95% confidence interval of survey, like highest, then we can say that because it's between the confidence interval, we can say that their distribution is same. So after this exercise, we found 68 variable falls within the survey's 95% confidence interval on average. Why on average? Because we do this exercise for each stratum. Like we have 16 stratum for 8 division. And then we also include some auxiliary variables. So though that are not like within the 95% confidence interval, but they are very close to like if we consider mean, so mean of these two variables is very close. So we consider only 0.05% tolerance, and then the number of variables that are like distributionally same increase to 84. But all of the 84 variable may not have the implication on consumption. And maybe there are multicollinearity problem, and that can be overfitting issue. So there is a technique, so here widely used, international use, that is we call it the lasso technique. So it's basically reduce the eligible variables and it address the problem of multicollinearity and overfitting. So by this modeling, then we can now have can like imputed consumption in the census data set where every household in the country is present, and we have an imputed consumption per capita consumption expenditure, and where we can actually have the poverty estimate. So if we look at the like fitness of this modeling, we said that basically we measure it from R square or adjusted R square. So in that case, irrespective of stratum, so the R square value is like 40 to 70%, which is considered as a very good R square in this context. And we also have a idea about the quality of our matching or imputation process if we compare the estimate coming from highest and census. Because from highest we can have like the division and stratum level estimate, and from the census we can have division and stratum level estimate, and also district and upazila level estimate. So if we consider like the national level, so in national level from highest, the point estimate is like 18.7% probability rate. And in census, it's 19.2%. So you can say that there's a difference. But highest estimate, it's come from a survey, and it's not the reality. And if we look at the confidence interval, it says the actual probability in Bangladesh can be in between 17 to 20.3%, and it's a 95% confidence interval. So it is not exact that in 2022 Bangladesh probability rate was 18.7. It was in between from the survey. Our confidence is it was in between 17 to 20.5 if we consider the confidence interval. And now if we look at the confidence interval in the census, it's like 18.4 to 20. So it's actually in between the confidence interval of highest. So similarly, if we look at the rural, urban, or division level, it's always the confidence interval coming from census is in between confidence interval from highest. And we can say that this is a very good match. So in the upper graph, the upper diagram here, so you can see there is a very good correlation between estimate from highest and estimate from census at stratum level. And in the below diagram, you can say that on the stratum level also. So the gray area is like confidence interval from census, and blue area is confidence interval from highest, and gray interval is always in between the blue interval. So since we can compare up to a stratum level, and it's a very good match, so we can say that our division and upazila numbers are also in a very reliable. So this is the outlook of the maps at district level and upazila level. And if you look at the upazila level, you can identify that, okay, there are some pockets where like probability is very high, the high red area. So it's like a geographic visual representation of the probability things. Also, if we look at the distribution of the probability, so it comes from like probabilities at the district level. We found it's 1% to 54%. At upazila level, it's 1% to 63%. And most of the district and upazila actually fall within the range of 10 to 30%. Only a few number of district and upazila experience like significantly higher probability rates. So now we have the probability number. So now the problem is how we can actually like interpret these probability numbers. So can we rank one upazila to others, or can we say that this upazila has higher probability rate than this upazila? So actually, if we consider only point estimate, it will be a misleading because this point estimate may not be statistically significantly different. For instance, if I say one upazila's probability number come for instance 20%, and another upazila is 20.5%. So we cannot statistically confident that 25% is like higher than 20, because with 20 we have a standard error, and we actually build confidence in an interval, not the point estimate. So if we look at the interval, so maybe the interval could be 18 to 22%, and 20.5 is in between 18 to 20. So statistically, there is no significant difference. So that's why we cannot directly compare upazilas or district only considering point estimate. We have to consider also the confidence interval or a standard error. So then how we can actually utilize this number? Then we come up with the approach that we call quantile-based stratification. So we actually classify all the upazilas in the country into 5 quintiles, and each quintile has equal number of upazilas, 180. So we can say that these 180s, this is a group of upazila, they have like the highest probability rate. And these 182 upazila has the lowest probability rate. So we have like 5 categories. So within the categories, we cannot rank one to other. So we have like 5 ranking. first quintile, second quintile, third quintile, fourth quintile, fifth quintile. So for Upazila, then we have a range, and we use the same range for district also. So that's why the district number is not same for each quintile. So we do this because to for visual representation, we want like the same color representation for the maps. So it is one important message that I want to put here, that we cannot like rank upazilas with one another, only considering point estimates. And I saw when BBS actually published this report, then there was a noise in the media that this upazila has this, but this is not true actually. So because it's an estimate, we cannot know the reality. And within the estimate, our confidence is only on the confidence interval, not on the point estimates. So though we represent confidence interval with a point, that's fine. Statistically, we can do that, but we cannot strictly compare like this. So we need to be very, very cautious when like ranking these probability numbers. And then we have another challenge. At Yusuf sir, at his introductory remark, he said that we can have a like comparative analysis with the previous round. But in that case, actually, we cannot compare directly with the previous round. Why? Because BBS done a lot of improvement in the survey. So in 2022's round, they introduced like the COICOP for food and non-food item. So compared to 2016, the number of item in the survey questionnaire has been increased a lot. So now if you ask the respondent more questions about their consumption, so at the end, since the number of item is higher, so at the end, the consumption aggregate or per capita consumption is will become higher in case of 2022 compared to others. And also they did a huge improvement in the field operation. So they introduced like 30 days residential training for the enumerator. And you all know that how important the enumerator training and residential training improved the training quality a lot. And also they move for like paper-based calculation survey to KFI, computer-assisted survey. And it has also implication on the quality. So that's why it is not directly comparable with the previous round. And also BBS like updated the poverty lines based on this new consumption pattern, like 2022's standard consumption pattern. So it is also complicating comparison. The second challenge comes from the methodological change itself in the small area estimation. So previously, BBS actually all over the world, ELL was a very popular method. So now, especially from 2019, so there was a new method comes in. We called it census EB or empirical based. So ELL method has some problem. It's particularly noise in certain model assumptions, and the mean square error is not minimized in the ELL method. So that's why it's like advancement from ELL to census EB method. And since we are like moving to a new method, so we cannot compare with the probability numbers come from an old method. And new method is more accurate estimates. So at the same time, it's limiting the comparability. Again, if we like go back in 2010, maybe the number of upazila was not like 590. So now maybe we have like more upazilas. So we cannot like, since number of upazila also change, we cannot directly compare for those upazilas especially. And also there was a variation in the sample size. 2016 round, it was like 46,000, and now like 14,000 only. But it is not totally impossible to compare. So what we have to do to compare, we need to reconstruct trend. That means, so the previous data, we need to upgrade them to the 2022 standard. So to some extent, using some imputation model, we can do this. And actually, BBS did it for the national level trend from 2010 to 22, and they include a reconstructed trend in their published highest final report. And for this probability mapping exercise, we also did this reconstruction exercise, but we did it only for 2010. And we like have include a chapter comparing 2010 to 2022, like a decadal comparison. And we skip 2016 intentionally because the survey year and census years was like 5 years gap. And in these 5 years, so the distribution of the characteristics of household has been changed a lot. and it was like we are not confident about the matching, so the quality of the matching, and also the sample size issue and the data's quality itself. So that's why it's like we need to be very cautious when we are comparing with the previous round number. And when we did this reconstruction for 2010, we also like recalculate the 2010's probability estimate using census EB method. And also we redesign the Upazila maps like geocode, so that in 2010 we also have like 590 Upazilas as of 2022. So we match that also. So it was a huge work for matching all of these things. So what at the end we can see, since it's a tool for like observing regional variety. So here is the chart we can see. For example, in case of Chattogram, we can see that in the fifth quantile, so only a few Upazilas is in the fifth quantile. Fifth quantile means the highest probability from quantile. But in case of Dhaka division, if we say Dhaka division, so people will say, okay, Dhaka's probability is very low. But there are some Upazila that may be not in the Dhaka district, outside the Dhaka district. So they have like in the fifth quantile, almost like 20% of the Dhaka division's Upazila is in fifth quantile. Though almost for more than 30% Upazilas from Dhaka in the lowest division, there are some disparities. So this is actually one of the objective to highlight the regional disparities, and it is also highlighted in the probability maps that I saw earlier. So my concluding remarks is we have to be very cautious when interpreting. This is one thing. Another thing is we can show the regional disparity and demographic disparity. So some area like shows a stability and other require intervention. So government need to like prioritize those area. And also we thought this exercise is a like foundation for future poverty reduction strategies. So, and it also emphasizes the importance of adaptive approach and continued collaboration with the government, think tanks, and development partners. So I will stop here. So thank you. I will look forward to the work discussion. And here are some materials. World Bank has a very detailed guideline for a small area estimation. If someone interested, you can go through the link and can have a self-learning on it. And we have also a Stata package. All is open and uploaded in the system, so you can download them also. And here is a like annexes. You can, if you're interested, you can see the difference between ELL and census EB method. So over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Junaid. Very interesting work. Let us hear from Tawfiq Islam Khan, Senior Research Fellow, CPD. Tawfiq bhai, please, next 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. First of all, it was a great pleasure to join in this platform and discuss this issue. This is one of the issues that interests me a lot. I have more questions or more interest to learn on certain issues to have more clarity on the matter in hand, rather than commenting on what we can do. So first of all, thank you, Junaid, for this excellent presentation. And this is very, very helpful what Rapid is doing in terms of actually explaining these techniques and its usefulness out in the at least the researchers domain. So that is very, very helpful. I'm also recollecting my first exposure to small area estimation. That was back in 2006-7 when we had the opportunity to join one of the workshops organized by BVS and World Bank. And we came to learn about these techniques. And at that time, 2005, haze data was collected, and they used that data to undertake that small area estimation. So that was, I think, since then, these methods are also improving to some extent in certain areas. My comments on this is more about what we have in this round of small area estimation. Probably more I think, more relevant in that front rather than on the presentation itself. But I will have my comments in three parts. The first one is on the presentation part. I think, to be honest, we would like to have more written reflection of on the 2016 estimation, to be fair. Because I've been listening these issues regarding 2016 haze, but I could not find very clear, detailed uh, inputs on this in written form, particularly in an objective manner. I may be wrong, but if you can point me one or two documents that we could actually read to know further. You also did not elaborate what were the issues other than the capacity of BBS in terms of data collection. Because this is very, very important. The important in terms of number one, should we discard 2016 estimation or not? Because this is very, very important, not only from the point of view of what we call the national estimation, but 2016 is also the benchmark of certain key time trend. For example, the SDGs. It was used as a benchmark for SDGs. So that is one question that will come up. If that is not the case, then what do we do with these district estimations of 2016? See, we all agree on the limitation and usefulness of small area estimation. But 2016 data also gave us an opportunity to actually look into that how far these small area estimations are actually representing the real scenario. So, for example, if we estimate it, and I did not see that attempt, to be honest, to actually show that if we take the 2016 district level estimation and try to use a small area estimation, we could have that opportunity whether small area estimations, the way we are doing, are more closer to that extent. Because at this moment, we use it at the strata level, and you have shown that in the national, rural, and strata level. We agree on that. Why I'm pointing out this? Because if when the poverty map estimates came out, my curious mind wanted to know what is happening across the country, because the highest poverty rate came out in Madaripur. And this was not the highest case, but it was very, very high in 2010 as well. But if we look at the 2016 data, so at this moment, let me elaborate the Madaripur district story a little bit. It was, let me bring out my number. It was 52.9% according to 2010. Then it declined in 2016 when we have a district level estimation. It was 3.7%. Then, with the new estimate, it is again 54.4%. Similarly, we can find a similar trend in North Sindhi. We can find different story in Shariatpur and others. So I have not seen any critical writing, and probably World Bank is one of the best places where these write-ups can come in, because they know both ins and outs. And with the change scenario or change national context in our country, we should have an academic discussion on this. And that will inform us how we are going to do it. Because if otherwise, the non-believer of these such techniques will claim that we are trying to push for 2010 and 2022 estimates with small area estimations because it fits our stories. So we need to come up with more credible explanation on that form. The second part is what we are going to do with these estimations now. In my experience, in the past, we have seen that these estimations were done, but may not be used by the policymakers uh, in terms of actually taking actions according to these poverty maps. What you have pointed out is very, very interesting. And this is what we should also keep reminding ourselves that Dhaka division as a whole, for example, may not have a very high poverty rate. But not only certain Upazila, but certain districts within Dhaka division. And in the past, it was merged with Mymensingh. So it had more, I think, poverty-prone districts within the region, but was overlooked because if you recall, after 2005, the East-West divide story came in, and those discussions were there, and regional disparity became a big issue in the development discourse in Bangladesh. So we did not also see a lot of interest in the area of using it to actually distribute, for example, social protection schemes according to the poverty maps. But at the same time, what is useful at this moment, and I think it should also, we can actually estimate it, but I understand the poverty map document can also do it without giving any extra effort, is that to actually estimate the number of poor in this region. So one thing is poverty rate, but the other thing is number of poor or poverty share within the country. Because, for example, poverty, do you have that, the number of poor and poverty share? Because that is how we can, I may be wrong if that number is there. Jonathan, is the number there? The poverty share. Poverty share is there.
Yeah.
Okay. So also to highlight then that story here as well. Because what can happen is that if we are using the poverty rate for policy making, that can be misleading to some extent. For example, in Dhaka division, there may be number of people is much higher compared to number of people in Rangpur. So when we are going to use this in terms of policy making, we can also use the poverty share analysis to actually distribute our resources according to the needs. So I think that is one of the issues that we should look into. And the third thing is there will be some interesting area for future work is also to come up with different numbers according to population, if we can use it. Can we also estimate, say, for example, number of children or number of persons with disability accordingly in that domain? This will be an interesting area how we can use it. And that through those avenues, it can be used more effectively for policy making. Say, for example, if we want to design a policy for persons with disability and stuff like that, and particularly in the area of needs, we can actually use those tools. But these are the areas where we can use these statistics for further research and coming up with new reports. But I think these are some of the issues that I also wanted to put on the table. And once again, thank you, Rapid, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you so much, Taufik Bhai, for your very insightful comments and observation. Let us now open the floor. If any one of here
Sir,
has any
before
questions.
open the floor, can I just put my some reaction with Tawfiq Bhai's comments?
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe you can respond, taking all the questions, you can respond at the,
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
or if you want, you can quickly respond to topic wise question. That's also fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. So especially the first issue on the 2016 data. So basically, I also don't know what actually happened with the data because that time I was not it's
I
part
know,
of here.
but I cannot have an written documentation
Yeah,
with.
but what I can say why we exclude this in terms of a smaller estimation. So it's because of the census year and survey year. There was like 5 years difference. And you know, Bangladesh socio-demographic characteristic is changing very rapidly. So within the 5 year, it changed a lot. And we really don't find like enough variables to match like survey and census. And there was a huge debate that time also. And usually World Bank is a part of BBS on this exercise. But uh, sorry. But 2016 was an exception, and World Bank was not like part of that round. So that's why we don't know the very much detail or documented things. Otherwise, I may have found some documented things in our folder. So that's why I cannot like really explain it, but I can like explain why we are not like deep dive into 2016 for a small area estimation. And you ask about like the district number from the highest. Yes. So since this is the direct estimates, so usually we always have faith on the direct estimate from survey because it's coming from survey. So we have to trust them. And then if you have question about the survey quality or other thing, that's separate issue. And you bring the Madaripur as an example. Yeah, we also thought a lot about it. And it's usually if your base data is highest. So when you run the model, everything will be based. So the core is your base data. So if you have whatever you have in the base data, it will reflect in the imputation model. So I think it's a like very good research thought for the think tanks like you and others to like explore more what happened actually. So what we present here, what the data shows, and data is like the official statistic. We just provide technical assistance to run this model, follow this all of these steps, and ensure the quality of the imputation model. So we don't know the like base data, what happened to the base data. So this is on the things. And you're asking for like 2016 issues. So I think BBS already published a similarity estimation like probability map for 2016 also. So it may provide some information, and especially the matching between since 2016 you have like at at district level you have probability estimate from both census and survey. So you can look at that also. And what we do with these property estimates, so usually when government decide their budget resources, so sometimes they use it, and also development partners, so they use it's a lot when they are like developing their programs. So especially WFP, so they use these tools with identifying many things. So it's actually useful, not like we are providing number, and it's always useful actually to having like this granular level estimate. So in that case, I think it has some like utility, of course. And in terms of number of words, so we don't like have any like a specific analysis on poverty share, like which division has how much poverty share. But in the report, we include the number of poor from each upazila or each district. So someone can actually easily calculate the share of poor by region. So we didn't like specifically provide any maps or any table or on this, but from the since we have provided the number of poor in each district or upazila, then you can actually have these things. And your last thing was the whether we can have like the number of disabled poor or poor children. Yes, we can do this. Since we have with the assumption that if a household is poor, all the member within this household is poor. since we have like identified the 4 household like binary in binary, so we can actually calculate this thing. So if some demand from somewhere or BBS want to do it, so they can do it actually and publish the numbers. Over.
Can I have a quick question on that? Is this data available for other people to use,
I think
or
no.
is it my taxpayers' money, but I do not have access to it?
So it's a BBS decision. So BBS have this data. So you may contact with BBS whether it's publicly available or not. And you can raise these things to like publish all the microdata, metadata to the users. So we are also discussing these things, how we can like open up and free this data, microdata especially. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Tawfiq Bhai, and thank you, Jonaid. Let me now take quickly a few questions quickly. We have one question. Jobar, Jobar Hussain. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sunai. Thank you, Tawfiq Bhai, for accepting our invitation and joining us and enlightening us through your intervention. So I have 3 questions. The first question is around, regional disparities are evident, right? And we expect that government of Bangladesh to take measures to address them. But effective policymaking requires concrete evidence, of the factors driving these variations. So while we can sense some of the factors with open eyes, based on your analysis, what are the key factors influencing regional differences in poverty levels? So this is the first question. Second question is, did the report identify any unexpected irregularities in poverty distribution? And the third and final question from my side is, what validation techniques were used to cross-check the poverty estimates with ground level data? If you have already discussed any of these, please excuse me, Sonail. Thanks.
Thank you, Jubair. Anyone else has any question or comments or observation? So one thing is that whenever you use the survey data and connect it with census data, uh, you mentioned there are 3 important assumptions that the predictor in survey is also a good predictor in census. Uh, are there any ways to test those assumptions after estimation? Because when you were showing the map, especially for Upazila-Level map, you did uh, not just the point estimate plotted on the map. It's a ranking, right? In which quintile the Upazila is. So if you look at the map, uh, we can expect that there should be some special correlation. If one Upazila is poor, then the neighboring Upazila, if it is not like the district center or Upazila center, then 2 upazilas should have similar poverty rate, or the poverty rate should not differ significantly. But you look at the areas like southern part or northeastern part, there are some upazilas who are significantly in different quantile. So that means that aggregation of data, to what extent aggregation of data is appropriate in case of small area estimation. Another thing is that generally in survey, we always miss the top earner and the like the most poor people. And also some areas, very remote areas, chor or hill tracks or those difficult to reach areas, generally is not covered in survey. And if their consumption predictor is significantly different from national level consumption predictor or from other areas consumption predictor, then actually the small area estimation may not be able to predict the poverty rate or consumption in those hard to reach areas. Is there any way to check whether this does not happen in case of small area estimation. So let me now take few more question. Tuhin Ahmed, please unmute and share your observation.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. This
Um,
is Ahmed. Uh, Thank you, Junaid, for your nice and excellent presentation. I think this is one of the unique tasks that you and your team did in the poverty literacy in the context of Bangladesh. I also think that your study is fine. I just a few points about your overall presentation. The first of all, you assumed area homogeneity. So I have a question regarding this. For example, the consumption pattern of households at Shamnagar Upazila of Satkhira might not be the same than that of Dohar Upazila of Dhaka, right? So that is there might be still Upazila-wise heterogeneity. So in this case, I think some Upazila-level dummy variable could be used for more precise estimations. So it might be a suggestion and not a question actually. And the second one is you mentioned one of the advantage of your population census are conducted in both 2022. So my question is if two data sets are not conducted in the same year, then how would you estimate that, or whether it is possible to estimate that? And in that case, what is your opinion about the precise estimation? For example, if the census data is 2022 and your highest data set is 2025. So this one. And the third one is actually your presentation actually shows the headcount ratio of basically headcount ratio that actually measures the incidence of poverty. So if we want to actually know the detailed measures of poverty, like the depth of the poverty of
Tuhin, you are breaking. Uh,
the uh, severity of the poverty, then we need to explore poverty gap ratio, square poverty gap to include this, and then it would be different.
I think I understand Tuin's point.
okay, Tuhin, we can't hear you very clearly. Uh, but thank you so much for your observation and your suggestions. Any other question or comments? Yes. MD Johurul Islam, please unmute yourself and please be brief. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, thank you.
Uh,
Yes.
Thank you, Junaid, for having a very great presentation from your side. And actually, I came to learn many things because I didn't see this method that already applied in many research papers also. So I don't know whether there are many literatures are available there from where you actually found this and you applied this. And second thing is definitely we need to rethink these trends that we saw in the various published reports from BBS. So definitely, since this is the same year data that you took in case of census and from HIS, but it already been asked by Tuhin, I think. But if it is from different year, that means if it is there is a gap of like 3 to 4 years or 5 years, then how could we set the base in that case? So since we can actually segregate these dimensions based on this smaller estimation. So this is a very nice estimation, but can we actually trust this method for the couple of years, next couple of years, whether it will give us the correct estimate? Because we saw that previous, yes, there were some questions, like in 2016, we got HIS data, and also here we got the HIS 2022 data, but there are some number of like 14,400 like household that in the collection, but in 2016 it was much more number. So how do you actually set this and how can we actually verify this? Because also Tawfiq Bhai said some kind of uh, like poor and poverty share. You also not saw us. You also and but we can actually also saw this like from gender based dimension. Also various consumption pattern. Different district can also represent different consumption trend. So there are very much similarity and dissimilarities that we are seeing in various regions. So just can you shed light on this particular issues? Thank you from my side.
Thank you, John Islam. Any other quick comments or question? I think we are over three now. Let me now go back to quickly to Junaid, if you can briefly respond to these questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for all of this question. So since some questions are common, so I will just go in general reflection. So first I will come with the validation. So is there any way of, I think Jogair Bhai asked this question, validation of these things. So usually we cannot validate them properly because, for instance, we produce this number, we disseminate this number in like 2020, January 2025, and it was the probability estimate for 2022. But when we conclude the analysis, it's like at the end of 2024, and within these 2 years, so probability is a very dynamic thing. So it has like huge a minimum variation. It's any event, any shock, it can significantly affect the probability rate. And you all know like the vulnerability of the people. So many people actually just lives around the probability line. So in 2 years after, so how you can like validate these things? So although this is not like directly verifiable, but we do one things like in previous round, like 2016, 2010, what BBS did. So they did a perception survey. So they like identified some region and like ask their civil society, like a knowledgeable person, researcher. So what do you think about the ranking of the Upazila with that district? For example, we go to the Satkira district and asking people, like civil society, teachers, everyone. So can you just provide us a rank of these Upazilas, considering the 2022 scenario or that survey year scenario? So they can like provide a ranking within this district, and then we can see, okay, these ranking are like whether kind of aligned with this or not. But although this is a perception based and we cannot really rely that much on perception, so it's like a, to some extent we can do that, but it is not really that much validation that cannot be done like properly. So if you like rerun some same survey in some area and have an estimate probability number, so it will be like 2024's number, not 2022's number. So this is one thing. And then on the assumptions, on the like regional disparity and aggregation of data. So, and also on the since survey, the Islam sir mentioned the survey did not like capture like the rich people, so there are some issues. So what we do, since we are like modeling these things, so it's like highest is the nationally representative survey. So we can say that, for example, the per capita average like income or average consumption coming from highest is a representative for the average income or average consumption for the whole country. And we are doing exactly the same thing, just imputing this to the census. So basically the idea is both the like average from highest and average from census should be the similar. So it's like if it's different, statistically different, then we have a problem. So we did like the t-test for mean difference. And if t-test is very much different, then we have a problem. So in our case, it was not that much different. Like the mean in the house haze and mean in the census was like almost same. And it is almost, in case of the probability numbers also, we all show that. So we cannot actually identify it, since it's all coming from data. And if there are some regional disparity, as you said, like, okay, one Upazila, very neighboring Upazila may not be significantly different. Yes, that's true in reality, but it's coming from data, and there in the data there maybe it's modeling, and every modeling has some problem. So maybe some slightly variation, but it's important to see whether any Upazila is like belong in quintile 1 and another Upazila is belong in quintile 5, and whether it makes sense, whether there is that much different, then we have to like dig dive again. We have to see what is the region, whether it is reality or not. But in our case, our task was to like provide the number, and then it's open now to all the research community to explore this thing, identify these things, and do like more research on it, whether it makes sense or not, then what is the problem. And the major shift, what Jubair Bhai also said, whether unexpected. So like Madaripur was something unexpected. So if we compare with 2016, so maybe some Upazila in Noakhali Hatia, so it's like something unexpected. So it very much declined. So maybe from the data, we cannot like, in our common sense, maybe there are some problem. So now it's like our further task to deep dive into it, what happened. So then we can actually ask also, it will also happen like increase the transparency of data quality, and we can also ask PBS questions. So, and we can involve in the process of the PBS data collection in future, so that we can like have these types of, provide these types of feedback to the data custodian agency. And then on the Tuhin's area homogeneity. So basically what we say, so first of all, why we like move from ELL to census EB? Because ELL cannot measure the regional disparities or the regional heterogeneity, but census EB now we had like a error term for like regional disparity. So it's a new technique. So we can like now capture the regional disparity very well. So than previous. On the area homogeneity, what we meant so we did not run the model for the whole country. We like disaggregate the country. So in that case, like 16 stratum. So it's like a 16 separate model we run for each stratum. So we are saying because the characteristics of, for example, socio-demographic characteristics in Borishal did not match with demographic characteristics in Dhaka. And maybe one variable that is for Dhaka, it's had some significant relationship with consumption. Maybe for other reason, so it is not like that much statistically, there is no relationship. So for that reason, we like produce like 16 stratum level model, and we assume that because we did not go further. So that's why we assume that it's an assumption. We assume that within this stratum, all the lower areas like follow the same like socio-demographic characteristics. It's not the poverty characteristics, socio-demographic characteristics. We are assuming the distribution is same. So that's it. And on the year gap, so yes, it's like when you will like work on these things, you can see how much variable you are finding common and that are distributionally same. So if you don't confident about like that distribution, how much that differ. So sometime if 2 years, like if the next highest is like in 2025, so maybe 3 years, and we can see whether the distribution has changed significantly or not. So from both sides we can see it. So if I found there are significantly changed and we are not find any considerable number of match, then we will like we can question the quality of the imputation. But if we find that okay, these are not that much different within 3 years, so then we can say that okay, we can use these things. So actually 2016 was that case because 5 years difference, and basically the distribution was changed a lot. So though BBS published this, because we don't find that much variable that are common and distributionally same. So we just question that, okay, we can use this to get some idea of the regional disparity, but we need to use them very cautiously because there are some issues of quality of the imputation. And also on the depth and severity of the poverty, yes, we can calculate them from the data set. If BBS want, they can further go to the data set and they can like estimate these things. And basically at the national level and at the division level, it will be same as highest, because all the after imputation process, the distribution is same as the highest. So the census distribution, everything in the census distribution is almost same in the highest. But you can see like the depth and severity by district and upazila from the dataset, it's possible. And on the Johul Bai's question on the literature, so basically worldwide, a small area estimation for poverty mapping, it's World Bank is kind of custodian. So World Bank has internal resources. So they actually helping providing technical assistance to all the country all over the world to doing this exercise. So we have very like concrete guidance how to do it, a step by step, like decision tree, what scenario, what you will do, all of these things. And the link of this guidelines is provided in my presentation. So maybe if you will share this after my presentation, so then you can also look at these things. So I think that's all. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jonaid, and thank you so much, Tofik Bhai, for joining us today. And thank you everyone for staying so long. We have gone over 3 now. But we occasionally actually invite people like Junaid from a big place, World Bank, but this platform is mainly for young researchers. If you are interested to share research on our webinar, please do contact with us. It would be a good opportunity for you to showcase, to share your research and have some good feedback from economists, established economists in the country. So at this point, thanking you again. Thank you so much again. And I hope you join us in our next webinar. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks.